Our next speaker is Doris Lin. Doris is an attorney specializing in animal law. She concentrates in legal affairs, and she works for the Animal Protection League of New Jersey. Doris was instrumental in New Jersey overturning the 2005 black bear management policy with a decision from the New Jersey court finding the 2005 bear hunt to be illegal. She also has a degree from M.I.T. in applied biology science. She's been vegan for 30 years. Welcome, Doris.
Thank you. I apologize if this is difficult to read. When you have, different computers with different versions of PowerPoint, sometimes the format changes. So if you can't read it, I encourage you to move closer. So, how many people have already been involved with lobbying, like calling legislators, writing, meeting? Okay. How many people have never done any lobbying, any grassroots lobbying? Okay, we have a very experienced crowd here. All right, so I'm going to just go through this really fast. Legislative process starts with you have an idea for a law. You or a legislator writes a bill. You find sponsors. The bill gets introduced. It has to go through committee hearings. If it passes out of committee, then it goes to the floor, and then in the case of state law, then it goes to the governor. So we all are against fur. What can we do about it legally? What kind of laws could we pass? Does anyone have an idea for a law against fur?
No trap.
I'm sorry?
No trap.
No trapping?
Ban the sale.
Ban sale? Okay. All right. So we are going to work with an example from West Hollywood. Banning the sale of fur is exactly what they did in 2013. How awesome is that?
Yes.
So that is language from their actual ordinance. It shall be unlawful to sell, offer for sale, display for sale, import, export, trade, or distribute any fur product by any means anywhere within the city of West Hollywood on or after September 21st, 2013. But it's not always that simple. Next slide. So this is the full text of the ordinance. The part that we just looked at is in bold, a little bit below the center line there. So above that we have the definitions. Below that we have some exemptions. You don't necessarily have to have the knowledge to write the definitions or the exemptions. But if you're working with a legislator or a nonprofit group, you have to stay involved with the writing. You'll notice in the definitions, fur includes stuff like shearling, which some people don't think of as fur, but of course it is fur. And then under the exemptions, you have things like taxidermy or fur products made from mammals taken lawfully under a California trapping license. We might not like those exemptions, but they might have been politically necessary in order to get the ordinance through. So a lot of times there's a lot of back and forth between different groups and the legislator. Lobbyists for various interests will all try to get their ideas into the bill. Okay. So you need to get a sponsor if you have an idea for your bill. Who's a good sponsor? Your own legislator, because you are a constituent, and whether they know you or not, you will be voting for them or not voting for them. A known animal-friendly legislator, even if you're not in their district, they may want to do it because they care about animals. You might want bipartisan support. You might want a sponsor from each party. Although, there may be times when you don't need bipartisan support. When would you not need bipartisan support? Anyone? Yes. If one party has majority. Yes. Yes. Committee members. if you have an idea of which committee that bill will end up in, it would be good to get them on as sponsors. Also, legislative leadership, your majority and minority leadership. This is a quote from Louis XIV from 1655. It is legal because I wish it. So I wish passing laws were that easy now. So, can someone tell me the difference between lobbying and grassroots lobbying? Yes. Yes. Did everyone hear that? Grassroots lobbying is when the public is doing it, and lobbying, what's known as traditional lobbying, is a paid lobbyist who's doing it. So most of what animal activists do is grassroots lobbying, when you contact your legislators. So it's important when you contact them to make a concrete ask. It's important to give them the information, explain why we should ban the fur sale, and then ask them to do something. Ask them to introduce a bill, to sponsor or co-sponsor a bill, to modify the bill. If there's something in there that you don't like. Post the bill in committee. Vote for the bill in committee or on the floor, or override a veto. Those are just some examples. You could ask them to speak to the legislative leadership if the bill is not moving, or speak to the sponsor if the bill is not moving. There's a lot of things you could ask for, but make sure when you contact them, you make that concrete ask. So there are different ways to contact legislators. Some ways are more effective than others. Most effective ways, telephone calls, in-person meetings, town hall meetings. There you have an audience. You have them as your audience, and they're listening to you. Moderately effective, we have snail mail, email, or online web forms. Snail mail used to be a great way to contact your legislator, but who remembers a few years ago, someone was sending anthrax to the mail to Congress? Remember that? So now all that snail mail has to be scanned for anthrax or other toxins before it even gets to congressional offices. Also, there's just so much mail, a lot of it gets ignored. It's too easy to ignore snail mail now. Least effective ways are petitions and social media. They just don't pay attention to that. Although those techniques can be good for getting media coverage, unless you have so many signatures or so much social media presence that you're getting media coverage, those are really ineffective. Emily Ellsworth was a congressional staffer, and she tweeted this a couple years ago and got so much attention for it, explaining why phone calls are so important, are so effective at getting your message out. I don't know if everyone can read that. She says, but phone calls, that was the thing that shook up our office from time. One time, a radio host gave out our district office number on the air. He was against our immigration policy and told our constituents to call, and they did, all day long. All I did all day was answer phones. It was exhausting, and you can bet my bosses heard about it. We had discussions because of that call to action. If we started getting a pattern of calls, I called up our DC office and asked if they were getting the same calls, and we talked. So that shows you the power of a telephone call. It's also great to get a meeting with the legislator. And you can call up your legislator, request a meeting. You might get a meeting with an aide, and that's fine. It's almost as good as meeting with your legislator. So before you go in, if you're going with other constituents, make sure you have a brief meeting in advance. It can just be like 10 minutes in the lobby before you walk in. Make sure you're all on the same page. You're all talking about the same bill. You all have the same ask. And try not to let anyone wander off topic too much. And if the legislator disagrees with you, they might try to pull you off topic. Don't let them do that. Do your research in advance. How is this legislator on animal issues? If they sponsored a cat declaw bill, you can start by thanking them for that. Or if they voted for a spay-neuter bill, thank them for that. Thank them for their past support of animal issues. Are they on the committee that this bill will be in? Then you've got a great ask right there. Are they already a co-sponsor? I've made this mistake more than once, I'm embarrassed to admit, where I asked a legislator to co-sponsor something and they said, I'm already a co-sponsor. And also, read up on the legislative history of the bill, because they're going to ask, where is this bill? Is it in committee? Is it out of committee? Where is it stuck? Is it stuck somewhere? When you meet with your legislator, tell them where you live. Make sure they know that you are a constituent. Anticipate any questions or objections that they might have. Try to work in a personal story. Show why this bill means something to you. And if I were talking about fur, I would tell the legislator about something that happened with my cousin years ago. She showed me her brand new gloves, and she said, they're so soft and warm. Put them on, they're so soft and warm. And I put these gloves on, and they were furry on the inside. And I looked at the label, and it was genuine rabbit fur on the inside. And she was horrified. She's not vegan, she's not an animal activist, but she's against fur. And she told me she didn't think it could be real because the gloves were so cheap. If we had that fur ban, she would not have accidentally bought rabbit fur-lined gloves. So that's what I would tell a legislator if I were going in to talk about a ban on fur sales.
Doris?
Yes.
Can you just step up to the top?
Okay. I'm that short. Okay. If the legislator asks you something you don't know, it's perfectly fine to say you don't know. Just make sure you get back to them later with an answer. Make your ask, your concrete ask. Get the business card of the legislator or the aide you're talking to, that way you can have their contact information. Make sure you leave them with a fact sheet, a business card, something so that they have your contact information. And then afterwards, follow up with a thank you note or an email and provide them any information that you said you were going to provide them. And thank them for the meeting. So, I hope everyone can read that. That's the text from the West Hollywood ordinance again. It shall be unlawful to sell, offer for sale, display for sale, import, export, trade, or distribute any fur product by any means anywhere within the city of West Hollywood on or after September 21st, 2013. So before you go in to the meeting, you want to have your elevator pitch. Explain why you want this bill to pass. So I thought of a couple of questions that a legislator might ask. And I'm going to ask you to come up with answers to those questions. So one of them is, what about the first store in my district? What would you say to the legislator who says, what about the first store in my district?
Okay, take it back to control.
Yes. Yes. So you're in the meeting with the legislator and you're asking them to pass this ban on fur sales. And the legislator says, what about the first store in my district? The first store in my district. What would you say to that? Yes.
I would say that we can include incentives to help them, maybe lease extensions and to help businesses, repurpose their store for another product.
I'm sorry.
I say included missions should be incentives like lease extensions and whatever might be needed, to help a store shift over to selling different lines of products, whatever they might be, kind of a benefit to businesses that do this.
Okay, at least question should be in the end. I would just like to add, if they're going to have to repurpose their store, how about becoming a faux fur store? I mean, they can still be selling something that looks like fur, and they're out of the dead animal business.
Great suggestion. Other answers? What about the first store in my district? Yes.
Well, I would say option number one, shut the store down immediately, or and help those past employees find other jobs where they sell animal cruelty-free stuff.
Other answers?
I would hang out when we work with Burlington and work for free, and one of the things I had said to the CEOs to me was, and again, I worked in retail, it's a surge of new buyers, because I boycotted Burlington for a long time, and I said, if you go for free, I will shop there again, you will go from the rent to the black, so you're being smart by going for free.
Yes. Oh, these are all great answers. Other responses? Okay. Now, what if the legislator asks you, won't people just buy it online instead? Is this really going to make a difference? Won't people just buy the fur online? What would you say? Yes.
I would say that this is a nationwide movement and that this is the wave of the future, that people are going to be stopping wearing fur, and it has to start somewhere.
Excellent. Other answers? Yes.
I might say something like, there are laws against science, and people break laws all the time. There's laws against murder, there's laws against other things, but we're stigmatizing that in our society, so it's not acceptable.
I would tell them that we already have laws in the books for vices, like you can't ship alcohol to certain states, then we should put fur in the same category as a vice.
Yes. Perfect.
Other answers? Yes.
There are plenty of products that cannot be sold online in New York State already, such as fireworks and pepper spray and things like that.
These are all great answers. Other answers? Won't people just buy it online instead?
Well, if people are going to, buy the fur online from other countries, make the transport of fur fur products illegal to come to the United States, but there are certain products that are illegal to transfer from other countries to the U.S. So do the same for fur.
Anyone else? Yes.
I would raise the tariffs on all imported furs from Canada, China, etc., etc.
Other answers? Okay, very good. Oh my gosh, you guys are like really good at thinking of answers quickly on the fly. Okay, and then, of course, at the end of your meeting, you make your ask. Okay. So, if your bill gets posted in committee, then it has a committee hearing. And how many people have testified at a committee hearing? A few people. Okay. So usually you have like 5, 6, 7 legislators up front. One at a time will call your name to come up and testify in favor or against the bill. So the best thing to do is to contact the committee members in advance, because when people are done testifying, they're going to vote right away. And if you've given them your information in advance, they've had more time to think about it, more time to study it, and they've heard from you, their constituent. A lot of times, it's really disappointing, but a lot of times they go into these committee hearings with their minds already made up. Get a crowd. Try to get a whole bunch of you to go and testify. It really looks good for the legislators and also for the media. Another thing that looks good for the media is if you wear coordinating stickers, buttons, or t-shirts. So some people just don't want to testify. They don't want to get up. They hate public speaking. They can wear a button. They can wear a sticker. And if you can, testify. Talk to the media. A lot of times you'll see TV cameras, reporters all along the back. And when you get up there to testify, if you're a constituent of any member on that panel, let them know you're a constituent. So, lobbying versus electioneering. Lobbying is when you advocate for or against a bill or a policy, and you can do it in legislative meetings. Electioneering is when you advocate for or against a candidate, and you cannot do that in legislative meetings. Oh, and if the meeting went well, you can ask for a photo. It's a nice way to end the meeting on a positive, friendly note, and then you have the photo for your records. You can send that to your group. If you're a member of the group, they can put it on their website, on their social media. Okay. What not to do. Number one, don't be rude, even if they disagree with you. Number two, don't lie. If you don't know an answer to something, don't just make it up. Number three, do not give a gift. And number four, don't say, if you vote for this bill, I will make a campaign contribution. What's wrong with number three and number four? Yes, exactly. Bribery, they said. Bribery. So it was funny. Years ago, I was working for a nonprofit group in Washington, D.C., and we were delivering, I can't even remember what the issue was, but it was around Valentine's Day. So we were going around to the congressional offices, delivering our papers with a heart-shaped balloon and a chocolate bar. And about half of the offices were willing to take the whole package. And the other half were like, no, we can't take the balloon and we can't take the chocolate bar. So we ended up with a lot of leftover balloons and chocolate bars in the van at the end of the day. Why do we have to lobby? Because they are lobbying. We started the National Animal Interest Alliance. Yes, they are, this is according to SourceWatch. The National Animal Interest Alliance, NAIA, is a front group and industry-funded lobbying organization for animal commerce and agribusiness based in Portland, Oregon. The NAIA was founded in 1991 by Dalmatian breeder and American Kennel Club board member Patty Strand and Adrian Morrison, a biomedical researcher. And they go around pretending they care about animals. They talk about animal welfare, and they make animal rights activists out to be demons who hate people, who love animals more than people, and this is bad for the animals, they claim. This is from the NAIA website. Look at their logo in the middle there. It looks so crunchy. I mean, it looks like something from Greenpeace, doesn't it? And that print is probably too small for you to read, but I pulled out a couple of quotes. On the side, they write, "We reject legal standing for animals, believing that the welfare of animals is best protected by retaining current laws that recognize animals as property." Next slide. This is another quote from the same image. "We support the responsible and humane use of animals for food, clothing, medical research, companionship, assistance, recreation, entertainment, and education." How kind of them. So if you can't read this, it's a cartoon by DanFerraro, who is a great animal advocate and cartoonist. The mom says, "You're not going out with me like that." And the younger woman says, "Be thankful, mother, I could be throwing red paint on you." The mother's wearing a fur coat. So looking ahead, even though we have industry organizations like the NAIA working against us, I am hopeful, and I do think that younger generations will be more compassionate than past generations. And I'm hoping everyone goes out and lobbies and passes these important protections for animals. Thank you.